we're going to do in preparation for the decompression that we're going to have, we're going to be doing a slow decompression now, but we're going to do a rapid decompression from 8 to 18,000 feet just so you can see the difference between a slow and a rapid decompression. So what I'd like you to do is look down at your regulator, and over the top of the regulator where your pulse oximeter is, you'll see a number. If you have an odd number, go ahead, take your oxygen mask off at this point, stand and hang your mask back up on the hanger where you originally found it. So odd number people, that would be 1, 3, 5, so on. Go ahead, remove your mask, hang it back up. Remember to put the strap around the rubber nape pad and then plug the strap into the holder like you're plugging a piece of paper into a clipboard. Once you're done with that, go ahead, reclaim your seat. Make sure your oxygen hose is over the outboard shoulder and put your headsets back on. Once the odd number people are done, the even number people can go ahead and do the same thing. Go ahead, remove your mask, hang it up. And essentially what we're doing here is preparing you for the rapid decompression, because if you were in an airplane that was pressurized, the oxygen mask would not be a requirement until you had a decompression, which would require you to use an oxygen mask. So what we're going to do is go up to 8,000 feet, and then without warning, we're going to, or actually should I say, Brad is going to push a button here, and we're going to do a rapid decompression. We're going to basically go from 8,000 to 18,000 feet in about 6 seconds. What will happen? Well, gas expansion is going to happen more rapidly. How is that going to make things more noticeable? Well, other than the cabin altimeter is winding up a whole lot faster, you're probably going to feel your ears popping, clicking a little bit more. You may have a little gas expansion in the gut, and it may need to vent some of that a little bit more. You may see that glove in the overhead expanding, which is kind of what's happening to your gut or your ears. You may feel the temperature change. It may get a little cooler. Moisture in the air might become a little more visible. So what do we do if we're in an airplane and we experience a decompression? And it's a rapid decompression, and we're 18,000 feet, right? Because above 14,000 feet, the requirements are that you put an oxygen mask on. And how fast should you be able to get a mask on? 5 seconds or less, right? So when you have that rapid decompression occur, we're going to expect you to do just that. Grab the mask, put it on, and make sure, again, that the oxygen hose is over your outboard shoulder, because if it's over the inboard shoulder, it's not that it's going to hurt you. It's just that the hose is going to be wrapped around your neck, and it's going to feel funny. It won't choke you or anything. It's just going to not feel good. Okay, so you turn the key first. Yeah, go ahead.
New guy.
There you go. Now hit resume.
I hope he pushes the right button this time, so hang on.
Okay. Now go ahead, and they'll tell you when it'll start flashing when it's ready. Okay.
Too bad his training's next week instead of right before.
Well, we figure we can have Brad push a button, and, there's a pretty good chance he'll push the right one.
50-50.
Now, of course, when the rapid decompression occurs, just like an airplane, we want you to grab the mask, put it on your face, control your rate and depth of breathing, and check your flow indicator to make sure you're getting a white to black flow indication, and that will be your way of taking care of the problem just like you would in the airplane. So whenever Brad's ready, those kind of things can happen. There's the fogging, there's the temperature change, gas expansion, altimeter's winding up, and looky there, I got all y'all, 15 of you with an oxygen mask on your face. Oh, did you check your flow indicator? Is it blinking black to white? And if so, give me a thumbs up so I know what it is. Good deal. Now, at this point, what I'd like you to do is go ahead, take your white switch and put it down in the normal setting. Normally, if this had been an actual decompression in an airplane, you would have put the oxygen mask on and you would have descended down. But because we're in a training environment today, we're going to go up to 25,000 feet so you can experience hypoxia. Now, at the same time, we're having you take the white switch down to the normal setting so that instead of getting 100% oxygen, you're getting ambient air mixed with enough 100% oxygen to keep your oxygen saturation in your blood at 96 to 98%. Otherwise, you'd be venting off all that extra oxygen in this environment here, and it would skew your time of useful consciousness to 25,000 feet. So we want to give you a more realistic view of what it's going to be like if you were to experience hypoxia. And so to prepare for that, what I'd like you to do is reach behind your seat, grab your clipboards that you had earlier, and let's see. looks like we got Chris's side is the first side that's going to go off oxygen and experience hypoxia, while the folks on Alan's side, you're going to be watching and see what hypoxia looks like. So for Chris's side, what I'd like you to do is take your pulse oximeter off the console of your regulator there, put it on a finger of your non-writing hand. And once you get a reading on there, if you haven't already done so, go down to item 4 where it says baseline oxygen saturation and pulse rate, and you can write that down. Please give me a thumbs up when you do have a reading on your pulse oximeter. Now, this is not going to be our primary method of recognizing hypoxia. It's just another method that we have in here to help you to identify what's going on. And so what we're going to want you to do today is to recognize hypoxia based on what you feel. That's your primary method of recognizing hypoxia, hence the 5 columns there for the 5 minutes that you're going to be possibly off oxygen. And in 1-minute intervals, we'll have you check mark those symptoms that you're feeling. How many symptoms should you maximally get before you put an oxygen mask back on? Well, for today, it's going to be 3. In real life, it would be 1. Okay, but for today, we want you to get more than 1 symptom, because sometimes the second symptom or the third symptom you get can be stronger than the first. So we want you to have a recognition symptom to go with. We'll have you write the pulse oximeter reading at the bottom of the columns at 1-minute intervals, and we'll have you play with the rest of the worksheet just to test your cognitive skills. Now, Alan's side, you're going to be watching the person across from you, which means that since Mark doesn't have anybody directly across from him, Mark, you and Travis are going to buddy up and watch Dan over there. But that's okay. Eventually, Dan's going to have to watch both of you, so you'll get all the hypoxia you can get later on. So everybody on Chris's side has a pulse oximeter reading? Good deal. And we're at 25 here, so here's what we're going to do. On Chris's side, I'm going to count back 3, 2, 1, and I'll tell you to take your mask off. When you take it off, you're just going to hang it on the hose in front of you where it comes up out of the console, and then your time is started from that point, and you have up to 5 minutes to experience as much hypoxia as you want, and then to put your mask on when you feel the need. All good to go? All right, then 3, 2, 1, mask off. On Chris's side only, mask off. Hang it on the hose. Now, before you get so engrossed with the worksheet that you forget who you are and take a look across the chamber. Look at the person who's observing you. That way they can see what your face looks like normally. That way later on when they see your face getting hypoxic, they can know what hypoxia looks like. Also look across at the color charts of the name tags of the person across the way from you. What do those look like now? Periodically look at those throughout the chamber flight or during the hypoxia demonstration to see how hypoxia affects your vision. Maybe you're having a problem with focusing near to far. Perhaps it's that you're dealing with color change and the colors begin to get a little bit less clear. And again, the whole thing is for you to recognize hypoxia, and when you do, you put your oxygen mask on for yourself. Don't depend on JR, don't depend on Roger to do it for you. They will not be there in the airplane to save your bacon. So today is the day for you to get the confidence that you could recognize and take the corrective action if you had to. With that, you have been off oxygen for 1 minute. Go down to item number 4, the first column, and I want you to put a check mark next to any symptom of hypoxia that you're feeling. When you're done with that, write your pulse oximeter reading at the bottom of that first column. Then look up at your visual target you chose earlier, see how your vision is being affected. And then at that point, you can go to the top part of the worksheet. The crossword puzzle, the maze, the math problem. See how your cognitive skills are being affected. Now, for Alan's side, you're watching that person. You're using the back side of that worksheet, and you're writing down the things you see them demonstrating that shows that they're hypoxic. Is the breathing rate changing? The coloration of the skin, is that becoming more bluish or starting out maybe pink and going to ashen gray and then going to blue? Do they look confused or dazed? Do they have a twitching? Watch for those things that you see in that person you're flying with, because that might be the thing that cues you into a problem that somebody else is having that would encourage you to put your oxygen mask on. Now we're at 2 minutes off oxygen, so for Chris's side, I want you to go down to item number 4, the second column, and once again put a check mark next to any symptom that you're currently feeling at this time, and then write your pulse oximeter reading at the bottom of that column. Now when you're done with that, I want you once again to look at your visual target. See how your eyes are being affected, or if they're being affected. And show of fingers, Chris, how many symptoms have you got right now? Okay, 1. Jesse, you got 2. Seth, how many symptoms you got? 3. Well, 4. What was the requirement here? Yeah, there we go. Nick, how many symptoms? 3. Okay, and it looks like Nick's going back on. Or that was Seth, sorry. So number 6 is on. See, Dan, how many symptoms you got? 3. Jason, how many symptoms? 4. Okay, you're an overachiever just like Seth was. And Kenny, how many symptoms? Just give me a show of fingers. 3. Okay.
61 and 66.
Okay. And looks like we got, is that
Kenny.
Seth going on?
Jess on.
And Nick's on?
Yeah, Kenny's at
Jess
61.
is on? Okay. And who is at 61?
Kenny.
Kenny's at 61. All right. And with that, we are past the 3-minute point. So let me have everybody on Chris's side go to item number
15.
Go to item number 4, the center column. Check mark off the symptoms that you're feeling, and also note your pulse oximeter reading at the bottom of that column. Again, look at your visual target that you chose earlier. Then once you've done that, go to item number 3, sign your name. See how your signature is working for you. How's Jason doing down there, Roger?
57.
10 on and 14 on.
10 and 14 is on. Okay. So it looks like Chris is the winner here.
Let me see a pulse ox, Chris. He is at 76.
All right. Hey, Chris, we're at 4 minutes now, so go down to the item 4, the 4th column. Check mark off once again the symptoms that you're feeling. And also note your pulse oximeter reading. Then check out your visual target when you're done with that. See how your vision is being affected. How many symptoms you got at this point? You got 3. All right, good deal. Now, just to show you how good your cognitive skills are, Chris, what I need you to do, look right at JR, and I need you to count backwards from 100 by 7s, like 100, 93, and continue. And Chris, that last number that you just said, I want you to write it next to your maze and circle it. And with that, we are at 5 minutes. So I want you to go ahead and put your oxygen mask on and correct for hypoxia.
Don't rush.
And while Chris is working hard to get that mask on, no, there's no rush. You know, it's only brain cells. You can live without a few more. Go ahead.
Saturday night.
Alan side, you guys can go ahead and put your pulse oximeter on your finger of your non-writing hand while we give Chris's side a little bit more time to breathe some oxygen and get feeling back to normal. And what we'll do is start in the back there. Kenny, give me a thumbs up if you're feeling back to normal. Kenny, feeling good? Back to normal? Thumbs up or back? Okay. Jason? Good. Dan? Nick? Seth? Jesse? And Chris, feeling okay? Good deal.
Everybody good.
So what I'd like to have you guys do on Chris's side, take your pulse oximeter off your finger, put it on the console. You won't need it anymore. What I'd like to have everybody do is take the worksheet that you are looking at the top, your worksheet, flip it over so you're looking at the back side of that same worksheet. Okay? And what we're going to do is reverse roles so that way those who are experiencing hypoxia will get to watch it. Those who are watching get to experience. And Dan, what I'm going to have you do, if you haven't already, is you got a vertical line. You're watching both. Good deal. So with that, everybody on Alan's side, give me a thumbs up if you have a pulse oximeter reading.
Hold on. Go ahead, sir. Yeah, stay in normal oxygen. As long as you feel good. Feeling okay? Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. So with that, Alan's side, everybody's got a pulse oximeter reading. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to count backwards from 3, have you take your mask off, hang it on the console, and experience hypoxia. 3, 2, 1, mask off. Take it off, put it on the hose in front of you. Now, before you get started on that worksheet, I want you to do the same thing the other group did. And if you have your headset down, you might want to put the headset up so you can hear a little bit better. Look across at the person who's observing you. See how they look, or let them, more importantly, see how you look before you become hypoxic. Check your vision out looking at the color chart, their name tag, and do something. This is something the other side didn't get to do. I'm sorry, but only one side gets to do this. I want you to pucker up and give me a standard whistle. Anybody whistling in there? Pretty quiet.
Very little, very
Lack
little.
of air resistance causes lack of ability to whistle, so you got to do something a little bit special. Now, with that, remember the goal for experiencing hypoxia. Maximum 3 symptoms, keep the oxygen saturation 60 or higher. Use your tools to recognize when it's time to put the oxygen mask on and treat for yourself. At this point, you've been off oxygen for 1 minute. Go down to item number 4, the 1 minute column, and put a check mark next to any symptom of hypoxia that you're feeling. Once you've done with that, write your pulse oximeter reading at the bottom of that column. Then look at your visual target you chose earlier. Are you having difficulty focusing from near to far and back again? And if so, do something about it. At this point, I probably wouldn't imagine anybody's going to experience enough hypoxia to need an oxygen mask this quickly, but it does happen to some people. Again, remember the goal is for you to recognize hypoxia and to do something about it. Chris's side, you're watching for those signs of hypoxia. What's happening with the coloration of the skin, the breathing rate, their focus ability? Do they look confused? Do they look dazed? Do they have that deer in the headlight look? Are they having twitching of muscles? Those are the things that might tell you that they're having problems, and later on you can tell them all about it.
Nicholas has gone Smurfberry blue. Smurfberry blue.
The dragon is not, he's a blue dragon. All right, we are at about the 2-minute point, so on Alan's side, go down to item number 4.
4 on.
And Alan's on, or excuse me, Nick's on. And go to the second column, check mark off the symptoms that you're feeling at this point. Then note your oxygen saturation and pulse rate. When you're done with that, look across at the visual target you chose earlier and see how your vision is being affected. Are you having difficulty seeing the colors as clearly? Are you having difficulty focusing from near to far? And Alan, just give me a show of fingers. How many symptoms have you got right now?
2.
Got 2. Steve, how many symptoms have you got?
Steve,
are you with us?
how many symptoms you got, brother?
Give me a show of fingers. Yep, that's 2. Okay, good. Dan, how many symptoms have you got? 2. Travis? 2. Mark? How many symptoms you got? Mark, are you with us? Got 3.
3.
Okay. Nicole, how many symptoms? 2. And Matt? 2. All right. Again, remember the goal is for you to treat hypoxia when you feel the need. We are now at 3 minutes off oxygen, so I want you to go to item 4, the center column, and put a check mark next to any symptom of hypoxia that you're feeling.
Nicole is at 62.
Roger that. So go ahead, check mark off item number 3, the symptoms you're feeling. Then go ahead, write your pulse oximeter reading.
9 is on.
And then I want you at that point to go ahead and...
Do you have any symptoms, bud? You need to put your mask on.
Yeah, I think Matt needs an oxygen mask there. All right, Mark's got his going on. Hey, Nicole, how you feeling?
Steve, how you doing, brother?
Feeling pretty good. Hey, Nicole, you good with math problems? No? Okay, good. We're going to have you do something different. I want you to stick your hands out just like this in front of you. We're going to do something called hanger flying. You're a pilot. As I say climb, I want you to raise your hands. If I say descend, it's descend. If it's level, it's back to where you started, okay? Descend. Level. Right turn.
Steve, I want you to look at your pulse ox.
Left turn.
What's the problem?
Left turn.
Left turn.
It's called 54.
Level.
That's called death.
Level.
Put this on. You're
Nicole,
gone.
level. Okay, there you go. Ascend. Climb. There you go. Level. All right, good job. You guys can go ahead back to your worksheets, and I want you to go to item number 4, the 4-minute column, and I want you to go ahead and check mark off the symptoms that you're feeling right now. So item number 4, for everybody on Alan's side, check mark off the symptoms you're feeling. Once you have done that, make sure you write your pulse oximeter reading at the bottom of that column. And then I want you to go to item number 3 and sign your name. They're dropping like flies in there. All right, and we're coming up towards about 5 minutes. So last thoughts, Alan, you might want to put your mask on. Nicole, you also.
Right, Alan?
Alan, yeah. It's no, the mask, the thing in front of you. Yeah, that thing.
He was just scratching his head.
You gotta love it when the brain doesn't work the way we want it to, doesn't it? You know, I just can't think as straight as I usually would, not as clearly. Remember to slow your breathing rate down, because if you hyperventilate, all you do is change different types of hypoxia from one to another. Things don't get better, they just get different. And you'd rather have things correct by slowing your breathing down. All right, let me start with at the back there. Make sure everybody's feeling back to normal. Just give me a thumbs up as I call out your name if you are feeling back to normal. Matt? Nicole? All right, Mark? Travis? Dan? Steve? Okay, Nick, or Dragon, and Alan. Good deal. Let me have everybody make sure your white switch is up in the 100% setting, and in that way everybody has the oxygen they need for the next part of our flight or for the remainder of our flight. I want everybody on Chris's side to go ahead and flip your worksheet over so you're looking at the front side of the worksheet. And I'd like everybody to go down to the columns where you check mark off your symptoms, and I want you to circle the strongest, most identifiable symptom of hypoxia you had. The one that really jumps out and says, no kidding, this is hypoxia. Once you're done with that, I want you to go ahead and put the clipboard and pencil and that back up on the wall where you originally found it. We'll take those down and talk about them later. For everybody on Alan's side, you can take your pulse oximeter off also because you won't be needing that right about now. And what we're doing is we're descending down towards about 18,000 feet. As we get down to about 22,000 feet, Brad's going to turn the lights down to a nighttime illumination. So go ahead and put your clipboards back. You won't need them right about now. They'll just get in your way. And take the pulse oximeters off. Yeah, you won't need those either. And when we get to 22,000 feet, Brad's going to turn the lights down to a nighttime illumination. And when he does that, I want you to take your oxygen mask off and put it on the hose in front of you. Turn the other lights on, please. There we go. Now go ahead and take your oxygen mask off. And I want you to take and hang the mask on the hose in front of you where it where you had it earlier during the hypoxia demonstration. And we're going to spend 5 minutes as we're continuing to descend down to 18,000 feet in a darkened environment. Now, of course, you would never use this as a tool in the airplane to evaluate your need for oxygen. But what we're going to do today is show you how important oxygen is to your color vision and your visual acuity. And so what we're going to do is spend 5 minutes at an altitude of 18,000 feet where the time of useful consciousness is about 20 to 30 minutes to let you experience the hypoxia that might happen. Let's say if you're flying 5,000 or so feet higher than your normal field elevation at nighttime, and how that might impact your vision. And all we're doing is speeding up the process by increasing the altitude. Now, if at any point during this you decide that, you know what, the symptom of a hypoxia that I felt in, earlier at 25,000 feet is coming on, you know what, go ahead and put the oxygen mask on for yourself. But otherwise, you should be fine for 5 minutes off oxygen, and we'll hopefully see what happens. Well, 2 things are happening right about now. Number 1 is that you're dark adapting. You are in a dark environment, and your body will normally take about 30 to 45 minutes to fully dark adapt. But much like walking into a movie theater when the movie's already started, or going to bed and turning the lights off and you can't see in your room, within about 5 minutes your eyes dark adapt pretty significantly. And so within that 5 minutes, your visual acuity and your color perception will begin to get better because of dark adaptation. But at the same time as that is happening, you're also in a oxygen-deprived environment, which means you don't have as much oxygen going to those eyes to help them with visual acuity and color perception. So what you may notice is that things are getting brighter around you and you're seeing a little bit better, but you may not notice how poor your vision is actually getting. And so what we're going to do is have a little tool to work with. If you look next to your seat, you're going to find a color chart, kind of like those ones across from you, only bigger. I want you to go ahead and grab that and bring it in front of you and hold it at normal reading distance, whatever that is for you. And once you've established normal reading distance with the colored side facing you, don't change that focal depth for any reason. Don't make it go closer or further away. Hold it at that same depth the entire time. Now, as you look around that card, you should see some colors. Make a mental note of how many colors there are and how vivid they are. Can I distinguish the colors from each other, the reds and the oranges, the greens and the blues? If I look at the center of the card, there's a little thing that says something along the lines of focus your eyes here and see the Z's disappear. Find the smallest word you can focus on clearly, focus on it, and out of your peripheral vision, do the letters in the periphery gray out or maybe completely go out altogether as you experience a little tunnel vision? Go ahead, take the card and turn it over to the other side. Holding the card at the same distance, you have a visual acuity chart. Find the line on there that you can read the clearest and make a mental note of that line. Then look down towards the bottom of that chart and you'll see some icons that you might find on a sectional. Can you make them out clearly? When you're done with that, go ahead, take the card, turn it back over to the color side and set it in your lap. We'll pull this out a little bit later so you can have another look at it. Now, again, as we're dark adapting here, we are having a little bit of a problem because our eyes are getting less oxygen. But we may not notice it because, hey, when we're flying at nighttime, we don't notice our vision getting worse simply because we're used to having poor vision at night. But hopefully what this demonstration will do for you is reinforce the importance of using supplemental oxygen at nighttime to help you to fly safer by being able to see better. And so at the 5-minute point, I'll have you put your oxygen mask back on while looking at that card. And it's about a minute away, so what I'd like to have you do is go ahead and take the card, color side facing towards you. Take a look at it now. How do the colors look at this point? Look at the center of the card. Are the Z's in the periphery still visible? Then turn the card over to the other side. Look at the visual acuity chart. What line can you read to at this point? Then look at the icons from the sectional. And then you can go ahead and put the card in your lap, colored side facing up. Now, in a moment, what I'm going to have you do is put your oxygen mask on. And when you do put the mask on, it's very important that, number one, when you put the mask on, you don't begin to breathe off the mask, off the oxygen, until you have the card back in front of you at normal reading distance. Then once you get the card in front of you at normal reading distance, take about 2 to 3 good strong breaths of oxygen before resuming normal breathing. But keep your eyes focused on the card. Go ahead, grab your oxygen mask. And if you need to use 2 hands to get your mask on, you can do that. Go ahead, put the mask on. With the mask on, hold your breath until you have the card back in front of you where it was earlier, and then start breathing normally while you're looking at that card. Focus right on that color chart and see what happens. And usually whatever is going to happen pretty quickly. Now what I'd like you to do is go ahead and take that card, flip it over to the other side. Look at the visual acuity chart. Make a mental note of how well you're able to see now compared to how well you were able to see before. And whatever you would have seen by now. So go ahead and direct your attention down towards the floor. Brad's going to turn the lights up. And then you can put that card away and we'll begin a descent with JR's permission, which we have. So go ahead, take the card, put it back against the seat there or where you had it. And we're going to head on down towards ground level. Now, as we are descending, I want you to make sure that you're staying ahead of your ears and sinuses. The greatest area of pressure change is going to be most noticeable below 10,000 feet, but even more below 5. So stay ahead of the pressure changes as we descend. And if you have any problems, let us know. Everybody remembers that level off signal, right? Use it if you need to, because we don't know you have a problem and we can't help you if you don't tell us. Now, let's talk about what just happened. As you were in a darkened environment, looking at that color chart with the oxygen mask off, did anybody notice any changes in their vision, any performance problems? I see Chris was shaking his head. Chris, what did you notice? Come and share with us.
As it was going on, I was like, oh, this isn't such a big deal.
Okay, so you really didn't notice anything with the mask off, right?
Slowly fading, yeah.
Yeah, slowly fading. So how many people noticed the slow fading of the colors? How many even noticed, who noticed anything else? Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
The lines where the colors were separating was fuzzy.
Okay.
Mixing together.
How many people notice that more so with the blue and green or the reds and the oranges? Like colors in wavelength have a tendency that they're going to blend together so that you lose the distinction of those colors. Did anybody notice any change in visual acuity when they were looking at that card? Okay, Alan, what did you notice?
I could read about 2 lines better with oxygen.
Okay, so you had to actually read a couple lines up to larger letters. So your visual acuity and your color perception was being affected. Did anybody notice when they looked at the center of the card, the Z's in the periphery fading out, getting gray or going away completely? Okay, some people it does, some people it doesn't happen. Now, when you put your oxygen mask on, how many of you notice a drastic improvement in your vision or a drastic change in your vision? Pretty much everybody. Okay, did you notice the colors separating? Did you notice the visual acuity getting better? Did anybody have their vision get worse temporarily when they put the mask on before it? And that happened for you, Jason? Okay, and that's a little thing called oxygen paradox. We're not exactly sure why it happens. It's just the body does not utilize the oxygen immediately when you get it. And so typically what's going to happen is you may have 1 or 2 people within a chamber flight that the vision gets worse until the oxygen gets all the way to the eyes and to the periphery of the body. And so during that time, visual acuity can actually get worse. So hopefully this reinforces the importance of flying with oxygen when it's needed or when it's required, but also realizing oxygen can be used when it's needed. You're flying at nighttime in a poorly lit environment. Maybe you're in the aerodome in a higher environment. Say you flew from Kansas over to Colorado Springs or something like that, where it's a little bit higher elevation. Using that oxygen at nighttime can enhance your vision and help you to fly safer. Maybe seeing traffic in a pattern or seeing colors better. Being able to determine runway lights as opposed to taxiway lights. All right, what I'd like to have everybody do is to grab your worksheet off your clipboard. That clipboard and pencil are ours. You do not get to take those home, but the worksheet is yours. And what I'd like to do is discuss what you experienced as far as hypoxia goes during that demonstration. And we'll just go down the line. We'll start with Alan's side, and I'm going to have you come on comm and tell me what your strongest symptom of hypoxia was. Go ahead, Alan.
Strongest was tingling.
Tingling. Okay, Dragon?
I immediately got blue in the face and dizzy.
Okay, so you got blue in the face, but you couldn't see that. That's a sign. What did you feel?
Cold.
Cold. Okay. Steve?
Cold.
Cold. Dan?
I noticed my brain getting fuzzy and it got cold.
Brain fuzzy and cold. Travis?
Splitting headache.
A splitting headache. Okay. That'll get your attention. Mark?
Tingling and numbness.
Numbness and tingling. There you go. Nicole?
I got tingling.
You got tingling. Okay. And Matt? Matt, what was your strongest symptom? Just push straight down the center of that silver button. Okay, good. Now, let's go over to the... actually, let's stop before we go any further. On this side here, on Alan's side, only raise your hand if this applies to you. There was somebody on this side I gave an extra task. Raise your hand if I gave you an extra task on Alan's side. Anything at all. Mental task, not something on your worksheet. Okay, everybody on Chris's side, point to the person on Alan's side that I gave an extra task to. Okay, everybody's pointing at you, Nicole. What did you do? You have no idea. Does this... okay, hanger flying. Yeah, you did a pretty... Yeah, you got stuck in right turn for a while. We had to work you into a straight and level flight. That's okay. That happens. All right, over at Chris's side. Chris, what was your strongest symptom?
I got really lightheaded and dizzy.
Lightheaded and dizzy. Jesse?
Mine was the same. I got dizzy really quick.
Okay, Seth?
I got really numb and hot.
Numb and hot. Nick? Push right in the center of that silver button. Still not getting you. Just pull your mask away and tell JR. Okay, dizzy. Let's see, Dan? Okay, yeah, I can hear you through that. It's a silver button up there. Yeah, we're having comm problems all over the place. Okay, we'll skip down to Jason.
I had dizziness as well.
Dizziness as well, and Kenny?
I had confusion, mental fatigue.
A little confusion. Yeah. All right, so on Chris's side here, was there anybody who was asked to do a task other than on the worksheet? Raise your hand if it applies to you. Okay, Alan's side, would you like to help that person remember what it was that they did? Point to the person who is doing something different. Okay, Chris, that would be you. Chris, do you remember, there's a number on your worksheet next to the maze. What number is that?
98.
What does that have to do with?
I think I was counting backwards.
By?
Threes.
No. That was a good guess, though. It was an odd number. You were counting backwards from 100 by sevens. And and you got to 98. So I'm not sure I want to have you do my taxes.
Yeah, I vaguely
All right.
remember that.
Now, at this point, what I want you to do is go ahead, take your oxygen mask off. Roger has put a piece of gauze up there. I want you to take the piece of gauze. I want you to clean the inside of the mask where it came in contact with your face or you blew a booger inside or whatever else. At this point, I want you to take your green supply switch on your regulator, put it into the off position. So your white switch should be in 100%. Green is off. Red is in normal. And when you're done with that, you can go ahead, stand and hang your oxygen mask back where you found it. Hang your headset on the mask on the canvas strap where you found it. Take your worksheet with you and also take your name tag with you, and I'll meet you at the back of the chamber.